Sometimes it only takes one bad hand to change a man's life forever. Cards fell silent. With the final turn of the river card, everything he owned was gone. The small ranch he had spent years building, his horses, his cattle, his home, all lost in a single game to a man who never intended to play fair. With nowhere left to return to and no family waiting for him, he saddled the only thing the winter couldn't claim, his faithful horse, and rode west toward an uncertain horizon. No money, no reputation, no praise. Just an old revolver, a worn saddle, and a determination to start over. The frontier is a harsh place. Every stranger could become a friend or a threat. Every town hides opportunity, but also danger. Outlaws roam the roads, bounty hunters stalk the guilty, and fortunes are made by those willing to risk everything. This isn't the story of a famous gunslinger. Will he become an honest rancher once again? Will the lure of easy money pull him into a life of crime? Or will the Wild West consume another forgotten soul? Only time will tell. Welcome to episode 1, a new beginning, born from total loss. A hungry man doesn't always choose the right road. Sometimes it's the only one he believes he has left. The dust of his old life had barely settled. His farm was gone. His savings had vanished. The future he had spent years building had been lost in a single game of cards. With no home to return to and no family waiting for him, Salty wandered the frontier with little more than his horse, an empty satchel, and a fading hope that honest work still existed.
Destroy supplies or horse theft.
Every closed door pushed him closer to desperation. Then, on a lonely stretch of road, fate introduced him to a stranger, an engineer by trade, a man who, much like Salty, had fallen on hard times. He spoke plainly without judgment and admitted there was only one job available: horse theft. The words hung in the air. Salty looked away. This wasn't the life he wanted. But empty pockets don't fill empty stomachs. The engineer made no promises of fortune, only enough money to survive another day. Salty wrestled with his conscience. Was it right? No. Was it necessary?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Perhaps. Desperation has a way of blurring the line between right and wrong, especially for a man who has already lost everything. With a heavy heart, he agreed to help, not because he was proud of it, but because he couldn't see another path. Little did Salty know, this single decision would set him on a journey far greater than a stolen horse. It would introduce him to men who would become trusted friends. It would lead him toward the life of a bounty hunter. And in time, it would give him the opportunity to become the very kind of man who stood against those who preyed upon the desperate. Sometimes, a man's road to redemption begins with the worst decision of his life.
Got him.
Yeah, I got it. Which horse do you want to take?
Anyone?
Okay.
Salty adjusted the worn saddle one last time and looked over at his only companion, a scrawny, underfed nag that looked just as down on its luck as he was. Neither of them looked like they belonged on the frontier. One was a farmer who had never lived by the gun. The other was a horse that had clearly seen better days. Both were awkward. Both were clumsy.
I just got killed by a rancher.
That's okay. You can just come back.
You almost knocked, you almost knocked the bridge again.
Every mile they rode carried them farther from the life they once knew, and deeper into a land where a man's character was tested daily, where every stranger could become an ally or an enemy, and where survival often demanded impossible choices. He had to learn hard lessons. The first, easy money is not so easy after all. Neither of them was ready. But the frontier doesn't wait for a man to find his courage. It throws him into the fire and lets fate decide whether he walks out the other side. Together, the unlikely pair were about to get their first bitter taste of the West.
Copy that. I can see that. Here we go.
Stealing hadn't sat well with him. It wasn't the life he wanted, nor the man he believed himself to be. But desperation has a way of forcing honest men down roads they never imagined they'd travel. The money wasn't enough to change his life. It was just enough to fill an empty stomach, care for his faithful old horse, and remind him that tomorrow was still worth fighting for. With the reins in one hand and hope in the other, Salty climbed into the saddle. The frontier stretched endlessly before him, and for the first time since losing his farm, he rode not as a man running from his past, but as a man searching for his redemption. His story was only just beginning. As the sun disappeared beyond the western horizon, Salty looked across the endless frontier. Somewhere out there was the life he had lost, and perhaps a better one waiting to be built.
A little more decent.
Yeah, sure.